Welcome back to Undefendable. We're going to be doing Play Like a Pro guide for the Cursed Pirate. The Cursed Pirate is one of the most complete and flexible characters in Dice Throne. She does not use upgrades. Instead, she flips her board, upgrading everything at once at the cost of 4 health points per upkeep. That single mechanic defines her entire identity. She has multiple variable game plans, massive burst damage potential, strong control, top-tier economy, and one of the best defensive roles in the game. If you enjoy card-driven wins, flexible lines, and punishing mistakes, Cursed Pirate is elite and, in my opinion, broken. Let's go over her leaflet. Cursed Doubloon, receive 1 damage in upkeep if you put it on your opponent. But this is also one that sticks on you, and then at the end of your turn you remove them, and then when you run out of the Cursed Doubloons, that's when you would flip over to the Cursed Pirate side, right? These are persistent tokens. Whenever the pirate would gain a Cursed Doubloon, she may not choose not to. Cursed Doubloons tokens may stack up to 5x on the pirate and up to 3x on anyone else, right? So on your opponent, they take 1 damage per upkeep. On you, they're just there to prevent you from flipping your board. Powder Keg, this is kind of like the Black Widow's Time Bomb. You put it on your opponent, they would roll. On a 1 or 2, they receive 3 damage and it blows up. On a 6, it passes back to you, and then you have to deal with it. However, if it's on your opponent and you do an ability that would add another one, the one that's on them would blow up, hitting them for 3, and then they would get the new one that you put onto them. Wither is on your, if it's on your opponent, they reduces that damage by 1. So ultimately, they're always going to be doing 1 less damage while Wither is on them, and it is persistent. It does not go away. And then Parlay, another broken token. Deal no damage when attacking. A player afflicted with Parlay may not deal any damage as a result of their offensive roll phase. At the conclusion of the roll phase, remove this token. So if you inflict your opponent with a Parlay and they can't get rid of it, basically at the end of their offensive roll phase, if they didn't get rid of it, that results in nothing, which is just absolutely bonkers. Okay, so the Cursed Pirate is going to start the game with, I believe it's 3 Cursed Doubloons on, I just wanted to make sure, on her board. And then at the conclusion, let's get this a little bit more straight, a little bit more focused. There you go. At the conclusion of your turn, you're going to remove a Cursed Doubloon. And then if you don't have any Cursed Doubloons that you can remove at the end of your turn, flip your hero board over for the remainder of the game. Let's just go breeze through this because there is going to be a flip side to this. So the Cutlass Strike is going to be the basic. X marks the spots and walk the plank are typically your bread and butter. Your small and large straights are damaged with Powder Kegs. Shiver Me Timbers if you want to flip immediately or deal undefendable damage. Mini ult, and then her defense is just absolutely busted. You roll 4, and then you just do all of this. It's very, very strong. If your opponent can't deal undefendable damage, you're likely going to win the game just because your defense is that good. And then Pirate's Touch. This is your ultimate Cursed Doubloons, Parlays, Powder Kegs, and damage. Now, let's go ahead and flip over to the Cursed Pirate himself, or herself, I should say. And this is really just a lot of what you were seeing. However, now there's additional stuff because during your upkeep phase, you receive 4 damage. So you're getting stronger abilities, but you're going to be receiving 4 damage during your upkeep phase. So you're on a ticking time clock here. So by flipping, you have a little bit more of a deadline to get things done because you're going to die slowly over time. Your defense is upgraded. All of your attacks are upgraded. Most of them are going to add Wither or some sort of damage opportunity, a little bit more damage, a little bit more Powder Keg opportunities and things like that. So, but this is what happens. So by doing this, the Cursed Pirate doesn't actually have any upgrade cards. All of her cards are going to be unique cards because she doesn't upgrade any of her abilities. So let's talk about her unique cards really quickly. All right, so going over these, I mean, ultimately, all of these are relatively strong cards. Some of them are situational, but Ransom, select one of your opponent's dice. They must pay 2 CP or else re-roll that die, so it's just another helping hand in your deck. Steal a CP from your chosen opponent for 0 CP, absolutely crazy. You're going to starve them out, control them down, and just win the game. Batten down is an interesting one. This is one where, like, once you've built up a lot of CP, you spend a lot of cards, and then you play this card. If you have any cards, discard them, then draw 4. So if you can have this be your last card in your hand and play it, you would basically draw 4 cards for 4 CP, which is really, really strong, but does take some setup and time to do. But you're generally going to have a lot of CP playing the Cursed Pirate because she's going to steal a lot and gain a lot from her abilities. Pirate's Life, gain a Curse to Bloom. If your board has been flipped, heal 3 instead. So a lot of the game is built around you sustaining your time either on the pirate before flipping, and this is just a way to get that. If you've already flipped, you heal 3. Swashbuckler, really good roll modifier, draw 2 or deal 2 or inflict a keg, really strong for 2 CP. High stakes, a lot of the times you're going to hit this rolling 2, you're going to hit this, draw 2, gain 2 CP. So basically for 2 CP, you get a draw 2, light it up, inflict a powder keg, really strong. Yo-ho, inflict a powder keg, but your opponent can potentially do nothing if they roll it correctly, or they would get a wither as well. Scurvy is okay. You know, if you need CP, you could sell it because you have to take damage to inflict wither, but early on can be really strong if your opponent doesn't have a way to get rid of it. Truce is absolutely busted. You just inflict parlay on them, which is nuts. Run you through, really strong attack modifier. Cursed cards, just more draw, because that's what she needs for 0 CP and as an instant action. Crow's Nest, you do a lot of stuff. Shark Bait, add 2 damage, and then Feed the Fish, inflict powder kegs on up to 3 different opponents. So this is one you generally would sell, unless you really had to play it. But ultimately, yeah, she's going to gain a lot of CP and draw a lot of cards, and you're trying to just kind of set your turns up to make sure that these cards are going to be the most valuable at the right time, because she's going to be able to control a lot of the game with what she can do. So, general game plan when playing the Cursed Pirate. I would say there's kind of like slightly 3 different ways. The Control Pirate, if you want to play more of a control style game, you're going to do Walk the Plank and X marks the spot a lot. Because Walk the Plank, you get to steal CP or have your opponent discard a card, and then X marks the spot. Generally, you're going to stay in the game with Cursed Doubloons by getting those back on the board and drawing more cards to be able to get them off of things and get the right cards you need. You're going to build your hand and build your CP with these 2 abilities, which is really strong, and you're going to limit your opponent's options. And this also allows you to delay flipping as long as possible by getting those Cursed Doubloons. And then you finish with parlays and ultimates and power kegs to really knock them off their seats. A more balanced pirate is just going to generate resources early. You're going to fish for powder kegs. You're going to play these when they come or when you need them or when you want to starve them. And then you're going to really set up for a single massive damage turn with the cards you get. And then try to flip mid to late game to get the most value. I would say the balanced pirate tends to be the most common and most flexible plan. And then the last type of Cursed Pirate, I would say, is the aggressive early flip pirate. This is one where you're chasing straights and keg applications, right, to do the most damage. If you can get Shiver Me Timbers and flip early, you can just race hard to offset upkeep damage, right? So if you get this, you deal 7 undefendable and you flip, and then you're just trying to do as much damage as you can as quickly as possible because that other side of this board is just that strong. But only do this if you have keg cards or dice manipulation in your hand, and you can reliably push high damage per roll immediately, right? The flip timing of Cursed Pirate is critical because you can literally lose games if you time this incorrectly. So make sure that you have that. Make sure you maybe have Truce so you can inflict parlay on them at an opportune moment so you're not taking additional damage you don't need to take. Counterplay, if you know your opponent's going to try and remove the powder kegs. If you're playing against Cursed Pirate, you're waiting for that parlay to come up. So you want to hold on to bye-bye or get that out of here or what status effects because that is going to come up 90% of the games, and you need to get that off your board so you don't completely whiff your turn from that parlay. And then you also want to try and avoid the defense, right? Her defense is really, really strong, So if you're playing into her, avoid the defense because that's going to really, really hurt you. They're going to gain a lot of CP. They're going to hit you back. They're going to prevent a lot. Just don't swing into it. It's really strong. Matchup wise, this is big picture. Cursed Pirate's going to be strong against characters with weak economy. She's going to be strong against characters with without strong undefendable damage, right? So if you have to swing at the Cursed Pirate without undefendable damage, Cursed Pirate's going to have an advantage. And then anything that's like not an aggro character, so mid-speed characters who just can't rush or stall well, Cursed Pirate's going to be able to do that better. Weak against, I would say, strong, really strong stall heal heroes like Huntress, Monk, Paladin, maybe even Treant, ones that can stall the game out long enough so that you have to flip and then be on that other side and take damage. Maybe even Ninja, undefendable damage, smoke bombs, and things like that. Reliable undefendable damage per roll heroes are going to be strong into Cursed Pirate. And then, long game denial strategies. So the Pirate is just going to dominate the mid game. You either have to beat her fast or first force her to kill herself by flipping and taking damage on the other side of the board. So, final takeaway, Cursed Pirate is not about perfection. She is about pressure, leverage, and punishment. If your opponent hesitates, hoards resources, or plays it safe, you can take everything from them and end the game in one turn. So let's do a couple of quick rolls just so you can kind of see it. So again, I generally, these are usually my bread and butter. Unless like a straight is just screaming at me, most of the time I'm going for these abilities. They tend to come up pretty frequently, right? There we go. X marks the spot, so I would gain a CP, and then I would roll 3 dice. And right there, look at that. I gained 2 cursed doubloons and did 2 undefendable damage. And then at the end of my turn, I'm going to remove that, right? So now I've just stalled the game a little bit longer from me flipping, which in certain matchups is exactly what we want to do. So let's do another roll here. And then again, would you look at that? All right, so now this one's a little bit unique, right? We have X marks the spot, but I already have the doubloons. So now I kind of want to push towards walk the plank. I probably would have kept the 5 there, actually. So 3, 4, 5, 6, I have this if I want to, but if I want to go with walk the plank, I'm going to steal a CP from my opponent and then deal 7 damage. End of my turn, I'm going to remove the cursed doubloon. Let's go ahead and roll again. And this is, again, another one where maybe I go more into the walk the plank strategy. And we go ahead and get walk the plank, where we're going to have them discard or steal a CP and then deal 7 damage, remove a doubloon. And now my doubloons are getting kind of low. Oh no, well maybe I'm at a point where I want to go Shiver Me Timbers and I have the right dice mods and I get the right things. All right, Black Spot. We're going to do Parlay. We're going to gain a cursed doubloon, 7 undefendable, so on and so forth. So, so I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for sticking it out. And don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.